Hey everybody, how are you? Hey Jimmy.
Hey, good afternoon, evening, good morning.
Whatever time it is.
'Cause
for you, it's Wednesday.
Yeah, and you can
8
be
o'clock.
watching this at any time.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. Yeah, but wherever you are and whatever time it is, we welcome you to the world famous Will and
Jimmy Show.
Oh man, you say that with so much enthusiasm.
Well, hey, I'm glad to be back. You were on kind of a
Yeah.
return to our regular programming,
Last week,
I guess.
you were in the building, you waved in to everybody, checked in with us, but we did have a couple of special guests last week, and but we're glad you're back.
It's good to be back.
Yeah,
it is. I miss
It is
being
good.
here. Just so many things going on in last week, and timelines were
Yes.
catching up. And
Well, we had 3 funerals within 4 days, and that kind of really, and those are our priorities. When that happens, then everything else takes second place.
Correct.
Because we
Right.
take care of our people.
We do.
But sometimes it overlaps, and so it's been busy. But anyway,
But it was still a good show.
it was.
We had 2 great
Yes.
special guests.
Yeah, Becky
Very-
and Eva.
And Eva.
Yes.
Very informative.
And they were return guests, so
Yep.
that's good.
It's always good to get a different kind of perspective.
Right, it is.
Everybody looks at things differently.
But it is good to be here.
It is
I
very
have an old friend who's long gone to heaven now. Reverend Bays used to say, it's good to be anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what he always, it's good to be anywhere. But it's good to be with you tonight.
It is. Very good.
And the weather seems to be moderating a
Yay.
good bit. And,
Yes.
you know, this, Jimmy, is what we call the January thaw.
Okay.
Normally it hits around the middle of January.
Okay.
But you usually get a couple of real heavy rains, some warm temperatures, and then all of a sudden it crashes again.
Yeah.
And that's when you can get your biggest snow.
Yeah. February
So-
has been in the past a
Yeah.
very, very
Traditionally,
snowy
it's our snowy month. So
I like
we'll see.
seeing those 60s in the forecast.
We'll see
though.
whatever's
I
going to
like it.
happen. But this is a little prelude to what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be that long. You know, we're here in the final hours of 2020. I'm sorry, of January of 2025. So we're up almost about 2-3 more days.
It's
And
over.
we'll be hitting February.
It is.
And you know
It
what
is.
happens on Sunday, right?
What's that? What happens on
If he
Sunday?
sees his shadow.
Oh, is that already?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Groundhog
right.
Day.
Yes. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, Groundhog
Man.
Day is going to be Sunday, so at any rate, I think we're going to have 6 more weeks regardless, don't you?
I think so.
Did you ever see
Yeah.
that crazy old movie called Groundhog Day?
Loved it.
I did too.
Great movie.
It was great.
Great
We ought to get, we ought
Yeah.
to try to download that and show it here one
I
day.
can do that.
One day show
Yeah.
a good movie here.
Yeah, that is a great movie. Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Hey, let's do a little poll there.
Okay.
You know, we haven't done this for a while, but
Okay.
we've got our big screens. What are they, 80?
86 inches.
We have our 86-inch screens and good socially distancing. If we were to show a good movie, maybe even Groundhog Day, or you know, but if we were to pick out something, how many of you would come or would want to come and save your money for the theater? Just come to Shades of Grace,
Yeah.
see a good movie. We'll pop some popcorn and have some Diet Dr. enough.
There you go. That sounds good.
But how many of you will give a thumbs up? How many of you would be interested in that? And if so, we could pick out some kind of a good movie and just have movie day.
Yes.
Would
Yeah,
that be
there's
good?
a lot of good movies out there.
And we could do a matinee and do it in the afternoon,
We could. Absolutely
because
could.
we're going to be here anyway.
That's right.
We
That's
may as
right.
well get paid to be here and have fun, right?
So also let us know, what movie would you like to see?
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of good, people have been telling me to watch a movie called The Forge.
The Forge.
The Forge. It's Kendrick's brothers movie who did like, Facing the Giants.
Okay.
Courage, or Courageous.
Yeah.
All those movies.
Okay. Supposed to be a good family-friendly,
a good
movie.
faith-based movie.
Yeah.
I have not seen it yet. Several people over the last month or so.
Have you seen it?
So yeah, let us know. I don't know. That just kind of came on my
Okay.
heart to say that. So
If it's good, give us a
yeah,
thumbs
let
up.
us know if you've seen that. That might be a good one to play in.
I haven't heard of that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you though. Talking about movies, have you seen those like Facing the Giants,
I
the
have.
football movie?
Yes, yes.
Did you ever see the first low-budget movie they made called Flywheel?
No.
About the flywheel of the old car.
No.
It was their first movie. I mean, it's very low budget, kind of cheesy acting.
Okay.
But honestly,
Sounds like the Will and Jimmy show.
It's maybe that's why I like it so much. It's my favorite movie of all the movies that they made.
Really?
And a lot of the times, if you buy like the DVD of Facing the Giants, Flywheel comes along for free.
Okay.
And it's fantastic. So if you've not seen Flywheel, I highly recommend it.
Well, let's plan that, Jimmy.
Okay.
Let's do
We've talked about that
Let's
for-
do a matinee.
Okay.
Say Thursday matinee
Hey,
or Monday
there you go.
matinee, whatever, and
Well-
just set that aside. Invite the public, invite everybody, invite the congregation. Just say we're going to have a movie day.
We had such a successful Thursday church service here a few weeks ago.
Oh, didn't we?
Because of
Yes.
the weather.
Yes.
And hey, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Okay. Let's do it.
All for that.
We can have a double feature and have a church for an hour and movie for an hour.
Hey, that's it. There you go. That's good.
Hey, we're open to any kind of suggestions.
Yes.
That
But
shades of
I
grace.
do like that. I like, gathering. I love gathering with our church.
Yes.
I enjoy Saturdays, but there was just something special about that Thursday.
It was.
Something about it. And a lot of people have said that too, said they really enjoyed. We had 33 people.
Showed up on a
Very, very
3-hour
short
notice, more or
notice,
less.
um, because let's see, we had snow coming.
You're right.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
we
And it
did
turned out
that.
to be a good move because most of the congregations were closed that Sunday
Right.
coming up. So,
Right.
and
So-
of course, we meeting on Saturday was putting us even closer to the mix. So, yeah, that worked out.
And so it sounds like we got some planning to
Yeah,
do.
we got to do it. And our planning here is usually short range instead of long range. We live day by day, minute by minute, because things are ever changing here. But most of our good ideas come out of just conversation and spur of the moment.
That's true.
So,
many things like that have happened. They're just very spur of the moment.
Yeah.
And look where it goes.
I've been
It's good.
thinking a good movie to show, and I would imagine most of the people have seen it. But you remember Bo and Teresa Sheffy and Toby. Bo's great, I believe it was his great-grandfather, was the Saint of the Wilderness, Bob Sheffy. And there's a movie called The Saint of the Wilderness.
Same way, yeah.
And but it's a long movie. It's pretty long.
3 hours or so.
3 hours or
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's based on true Appalachian history and religion, and it's from someone that we know very well here at Shades of Grace.
It
So,
used to play a lot on like public access television.
Okay.
Isn't that right?
I think so.
Like
Yes.
one of the channels you can get over the
I think
antenna
so.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
They played. It seems like they played it like every weekend.
Okay.
But that would be. And then there's another movie we've talked about in the past, The Gospel Road.
Oh no, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Johnny Cash.
That's the one they filmed in Israel
Mhm.
on the site. And I remember many years ago, not long after the movie came out, we were in Jerusalem and they were premiering that movie in the King David Theater in Jerusalem, and we went to an evening matinee.
So that was
I guess evening's not a matinee, but
Well,
it was a nighttime
yeah.
showing. But yeah, that was really neat to be there in the place where it was filmed, and I mean, just really neat.
So
That's
that
a
was
good
close
movie.
to kind of the time it was made.
It was, yeah,
Okay.
years
So wow.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it came out in 72.
Late
Somewhere around
late
in there, I
70s,
guess. So,
believe.
yeah. Very
But,
cool.
yeah, anyway, that's great. So,
Lots of options.
yeah, we
Lots
have.
of things we can
Yep.
do.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
That's true.
But we're willing to change. So
But
let
you
us
know-
know what you like.
One thing that's not going to change is you need to be here Saturday morning.
That's right. Because we are going to be here at the Lord willing. Saturday morning, didn't we have a crowd here on Saturday?
I think over 70.
Yeah, and so many of our regular people and a couple of our biggest families were out. We wouldn't have had anywhere for some of them to sit. It was that crowded Saturday. I'm still trying to think of who some of those people were. And we had first-time guests.
And we had a lot of folks from our homeless community
Yes, we
join
did.
us that maybe don't. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't had a chance to tell you this.
All right.
So one of the people who was here Saturday morning, we've known for years, and to be honest, he's given us problems from time to time over the years.
Okay.
I think he's cussed us all, and fussed at us all, and got mad at us. But yeah, I looked over from the booth and I saw him standing over here, and he stayed for the whole service.
Okay.
And by the end of the service, I noticed tears rolling
Really?
down his face.
Oh, my.
And I didn't get it. And when the service was over, he was gone.
Wow.
I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I did talk to him on Monday.
Okay.
And I said, hey, it was really good to see you Saturday. And he said, oh, he said that message touched my heart.
Really? Really?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And
you just never know.
you never know. And
Well,
wow,
that's-
I'm speechless about it. I mean,
he's never been here for it.
No,
He's never
no.
stayed for us.
I mean, he stood
Yeah.
the whole time, kind of back in the corner. But he stayed for the whole service. Came in right as the music was starting, I believe. He came a little late,
Right.
and but that was wonderful. That he said that he said yes, and he touched it. He said that message really touched
Really?
me, and you could tell he was getting emotional
Wow.
as he walked off. So
Well, praise God. I'm
Yeah.
glad you shared that with me.
Yeah.
You know, I've noticed also, if you've never been at Shades of Grace, back in this corner, on that side facing the sidewalk, is what we call God's living room, and that's where we have couches, chairs, really nice, easy furniture. One of the big recliners, and that seems to be. And we have some books back there you can read, can rest. But I've noticed most of our unhoused folks who come to worship, not all of them, but they generally gravitate to that area, and sometimes they'll just fall asleep. But that's the best seats in the house, and it should be. They're our special guests.
yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, because of them,
Yeah.
and because of all of us, we're here. But so often they're given second place, and I want them to feel right when they come in God's house.
And, we did a memorial service last Saturday after
Yes.
church.
Yes,
And this was not a family that we really knew. We knew a
Right.
few of the members from years ago, but we really didn't know this family. But I noticed during that service, you said a lot of people call this God's living room. And I saw everybody kind of say, yeah, that's it. I feel that, that comfortableness. And, in situations like this, that may be the only time that
Sure.
we get to talk to these
Right,
folks.
right.
But when you said that, it really connected with a lot of people that were
Right.
here for that service.
well, they were a lovely family. There was a lot of tragedy involved in
Sure.
that situation.
Sure.
So, we want this to be what God wants it to be. It's not my church. People say Brother Will's church, Pastor Will's church. I'm just the overseer. And when my time is up, someone else will oversee it. But as long as I'm here, I know what God is showing me. And I just want to live into that to the best of my ability. Certainly not perfect, and I make lots of mistakes. We're just doing our best to fulfill what Jesus said.
What he wants us to do.
The final test. How many like the finals in college or high school? The final test. You know what the final test is in the Scripture?
What would that be?
In the New Testament, it has often been said in courses of theology that I've taken that the final test that is given to those who are followers of Jesus is what he writes about, or what he talks about in the Gospel of Matthew. In other places, I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty. Or then he said, on the other hand, I was hungry and you didn't feed me. I was naked and you didn't clothe me. They said, well, Jesus, when did we see you like this? And he said, as the least you've done to these. And that's the final test. I mean, how are we being graded on that? I hope I'm graded on the curve in a positive way. I try, but
Yes.
sometimes we fall short.
Yep. But that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes doing those things is not easy. Like when you say it, it sounds really
Right.
simple.
It always
Like that
sounds-
would be so easy to do, but there's a lot to it. And when we have kind of new volunteers who haven't been here before and they kind of get their feet wet, as you say
Right.
here, a lot of them say, "Wow, I didn't realize that there's that much to
Right.
this." It's not just And I read on. I'm gonna get on this.
ahead.
One of my resolutions this year, even though I don't make
On your bucket
resolutions,
list.
was to less time on the phone. I'm gonna tell you, I've done that.
Good.
I have done that. But somebody,
Unless it's Shades of Grace.
of course, of course. But I have definitely put the phone down a lot this year, and I'm not constantly scrolling. And it helps my mind. I think it really does, because there's a lot of negativity out there.
Yes.
And this is where this is going. There was some negativity that Shades of Grace received a while back, kind of indirectly on a Facebook post that we're just handing out meals and not building relationships.
I remember.
Folks, there's nothing further than the truth
Right.
than that. And can I tell another one?
Please, you absolutely. This
No,
is
no.
the gospel truth.
So last week, I heard a lady come to the door and said she needed to see Jimmy. And I recognized her voice, and I looked up. I didn't recognize her, but I said, "Come on back." And she was talking to me as if it was you and I was really trying to place, what's her name? There's so many people we meet here. Could not think of her name, and really didn't recognize her. But I recognized her personality, if that makes sense. And she said, "About 6 weeks ago, I lost my ID. Do you still have a copy of it? So I need it today if you can do it." And I nonchalantly said, "Hey," I said, "What's your last name?" I can't remember her last name. And she told me her last name. Then I remembered exactly what it was. That her hair was different. It was a different color than it was before. And I said, "So when did you lose your ID?" And she said, "About 6 weeks ago." And it reminded me that about 6 weeks ago, somebody turned in her wallet here at Shades of Grace. They had found it in a shopping center parking lot in the rain. It was wet, and I had actually reached out to her on social media.
Did it have her identity as our address?
No.
No?
But these people didn't know what to do.
Okay.
So they wanted to
Call Shades of Grace.
say, "Hey, maybe you know this person." And so anyway, I said, somebody turned this in. And I opened it up, and there was her ID, her debit cards, all the other information, Social Security card, everything was in there. And I had sent her I'd found a Facebook page with some current postings, and I commented on one of them. I said, "Hey, please call Shades of Grace," but she hadn't seen that. But boy, talking about the look on her face, and then
Well, I
when she saw
was
that-
in my office working, and I heard a lady crying.
Yeah.
And I looked out, and I found out later that what had happened. But she
Yeah.
was weeping.
She was, yeah.
And then she was praising God.
Because the phone number that I had for her was disconnected, no longer in service.
Wow.
So I really had no way to contact her to tell her, but I hung on to it. And there was one day, I remember I was going through, I like to kind of keep things clean and organized, and
Right.
that junk drawer was kind of getting junky. And I thought, maybe I should go ahead and get rid of this. It's been about a month. I was like, no, I'm just going to hang on to it. Because it was a big wallet, real thick wallet, I said, I'm just going to hang on to it. And
Had you
sure
known her
enough-
before?
Uh-huh.
And you knew her?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We had, let's see, I did a birth certificate for her back in 2023.
Okay.
And did an ID later in 2023 for her.
Wow.
But,
And it showed up here.
yep,
That's amazing.
yep, somebody, well, you know what, actually, I guess, yes, the address on her ID was Shades of Grace.
Okay.
That's why they brought it here.
Okay.
And it was, so that's just one of those things that happens here, and it happens so many times. I always tell myself I need to write these things down as they happen. And I get busy and I don't. But that was just one of those great moments. I mean,
I was waiting for you to make a post on that.
Yeah, and I just-
But we just don't have the time.
And that,
you know.
that gets,
You're getting a phone call.
yeah, that's okay. That one can go to voicemail.
Okay.
That's okay. And I really have had every intention to. But again, though, too, when things like that happen, sometimes for me, it's hard to put that into words.
Yeah, it is.
To explain it, what I'm trying to say from my heart, what I witnessed with my eyes. It's hard to put that into words so somebody else would understand just the full, emotional contact of that moment when I laid that wallet down and she automatically recognized what it was.
Well, an old preacher I heard one time said it's better felt than told.
Yeah.
Sometimes words are not sufficient.
Yeah. And then again, that's just a small little,
Just a glimpse.
Had a gentleman in here earlier today, about my age, and just found out that he has colon and prostate cancer, both. And has started treatment and just having a really hard time, which I can't imagine, what he's going through. But
Right.
he just needed a little assistance, and we were able to help him with nothing much, just a little hand up, to help him out. And and he's not homeless, but could be.
Right.
So, I mean, can you
I'm
imagine?
thankful that somehow they say, go to Shades of Grace.
They do.
They can help you.
They do.
And they are you. You're the reason we're able to do this. Because we're just a storefront church. Somebody told me recently the one thing they noticed as watching our services is that we never pass an offering plate.
True.
And we don't talk about money. But, you know, God always provides what we need right on time, and sometimes even before we need it. He knows the end from the beginning.
And that help is not government funding,
That's
and
exactly
federal
right.
funding. And
That's exactly
it's
right.
from people who are just like you, who are watching us, because so many people connect with us
Yeah.
online who have never been to church in person, but
Right.
you're just as much as a member
Yes.
here as anyone else,
Exactly.
part of this church family.
Yes.
And I'm thankful for that.
Exactly.
I am.
Well, that's good news. So, and we are building relationships more than
Yes.
we realize, because, you know, a lot of times the people, when they're in trouble, when they're hurting, if someone's sick or someone passes away, we got to go tell Shades of Grace. We got to go to our church, and we may not see them on Saturday morning worship or Wednesday Bible study, but we are their community church. So,
Right, they say, who is your, where do you go to church?
right,
Shades of Grace is my church.
yeah, that's it.
Shades of Grace
Yeah.
is my church.
Well,
And
we're
I
very-
was talking to someone that was here with the church group this morning, and one of our Sullivan County pretrial officers was here.
I saw you speaking.
We were talking for a good bit, and what that is, that's a program when someone gets charged with something like trespassing or violation of probation, intoxication, you know, something like that, they can be approved for pretrial, and therefore they don't really have to, you know, serve jail time. And if
Right.
they complete these few processes of that pretrial, usually those charges are kind of dropped
Right.
and wiped away, and they, you know, start over.
It's just a matter of staying connected
And that's-
into the system.
Right, and that is difficult. And they have a couple of officers in this is Sullivan County, not Kingsport. They have a couple of officers who are dedicated just to that program. So she was here looking for someone who's not in trouble, just has a court date coming up, and she's saying, "I am just trying to reach out to her and say, hey, how
Right.
can I help you?"
Preemptive
Which is
strike.
a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Right.
Anyway, we were talking, and she was talking about how this is her calling. She said, "This is not a job, this is her calling." And she said, I have just, because somebody that she had been in her program passed away yesterday,
Okay.
very suddenly. She told me the name, but I didn't recognize the name. And that she was really, you know, struggling with that today. That was something she was really had on her heart this morning. But I was just kind of telling her a little bit more about what we do here and about how, just what we were talking about, like somebody, they may not come to church on Saturday morning,
Right.
may not be here on Wednesday, and sometimes there may be a gap where we don't see them for years.
Right.
But then they come back and they say those words, "Do you remember me?"
Yeah.
How many times have we heard it?
Yeah.
"Do you remember me?" And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, you know. But they remember.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
forget.
Exactly.
You know, I was here that time and you helped me do this. Or I was here that time and you were kind to me about this. And they don't forget that.
Right.
They don't forget that.
Well, it's like, I think I mentioned it somewhere recently in a Facebook post. Remember a couple of years ago, we had the flood up in Neon, Kentucky?
Oh, yeah.
Remember,
Yes.
just across the state line?
Yes.
And it washed that little town away, I mean, literally. And the United Methodist Church right in the middle of town was pretty well done for. I mean, it was flooded all the way up. I mean, everything was pretty well
Up to the
decimated. Yes.
second story.
Yes.
Way up second story.
And we saw that. We'd never been there. I didn't know the pastor. But, you know, we took up an offering here in our afternoons. That was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think we got $5,000.
So that's it. 5,000.
And we sent it to them, and we never heard any more from them. They sent a little thank you back then, but that was it. You know, we don't do anything with strings attached.
Yeah.
But I came across something on Facebook, and it was the picture of how beautiful the church looked decorated for the holidays. And I just did a little more investigating, and I thought, they're back up and running, and like as if nothing ever happened. And so I just sent a little post and said, your friends in Shades of Grace in Kingsport are thinking about you, and glad to see all that's happening. And the pastor wrote me back, and he said, you know, we've never met, but Shades of Grace was one of the first churches and persons outside our community to reach out to us
Yeah.
when we were in need. That made me feel good.
Yeah.
Being the
Yeah.
hands and feet of Jesus.
And we have followed their process and
Right.
progress that they have made.
Right.
And if you are one who's on social media, you can find their page. It's just simply Neon United Methodist Church. They're in Neon, Kentucky. Go follow them. Give them some encouragement.
Yeah.
We've never met anyone from
No,
there.
never-
Not that I'm aware
Never
of.
been there, but it's only barely, not much more than an hour's drive.
But they seem
from
like
here.
such a friendly group of people. Do a lot in that little community. They really do a lot to help their community. A lot for the children there in their community. So
Right.
go over in Neon United Methodist Church. Go give them support.
Neon,
on their
Kentucky.
Facebook page.
I'm going to do a road trip one day. Just ride up that way and check it out.
Yep. I think one day we should come in and get the meals done and just hit the road.
Hit the road. That's right.
We can film that.
There we
can
go.
Do,
Yeah,
we can
hey,
do
wouldn't that be
the we
neat?
can do the Will and Jimmy
Okay.
show on location.
Okay. There we go.
Making more plans.
See how these things happen? That's just
I need somebody to be taking notes for
Exactly.
me. Charlotte, will you take notes for me and message us all back?
yeah, somebody
Like a
needs to
little-
transcribe it. Be typing. The thing I notice on TV, I can't tell you. I mean,
No, I can't do
Yeah.
that.
I hunt and peck.
My,
I get it done.
let's see. I didn't have typing. I had keyboarding. But my teacher would get so aggravated at me because I looked at my hands. She would come over and put a piece of paper over my hands where I couldn't see what I was doing. So I would look at them. We had these big books that would fold over,
Okay.
and that's what you would type off of. And I was supposed to be looking at the book, but I would look at my hands, and she would get so mad and put
Yeah.
that piece of paper. But I
Well, to
eventually
me,
got it.
that sounds a lot like reading notes on a piano and playing.
Same.
And
I don't know.
I don't think I could do either.
I know I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. That's why we have Landon.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's why we got Landon. He's always got.
I don't know how many
the right
words per
touch.
minute he can type, but he can sure play the piano.
I wonder if he can type.
I don't know.
We'll have to ask him.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
bet he can on his thumb type.
Yeah. By the way, something came up and I hadn't thought of this, but I'm going to say it. We have a lot of wonderful congregations all around us here in Kingsport. And I noticed last week during the freeze that Bays Mountain Baptist
Yeah.
Church, I guess the pipes in the top of their building came down where they built the new building and all that. And anyway, it looks like their sanctuary was really, really devastated. So remember them in prayer. I know they're probably knocked out of having a place to meet for a while.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
need to pray for them. I remember another congregation not too many blocks away from here, back a few years ago, very small church, needed an air conditioner
Yes.
in the summer.
Yes.
They were struggling, and what do? We sent them a check for, I don't know, 500 or 1,000 or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we never
Yep.
been there, but we try to be a blessing to the community. The Bible says, especially to those who are of the household of faith. And we really need to stand together as people of faith
We have to.
with what
Right.
binds us together rather than what separates us.
Right.
And we really got to work on that.
Right. We do need to work on
We
it.
work on it.
Right. All
So
those
remember
little
those.
differences that we have, that's good. That's
Yeah,
fine.
That's good.
But we can't all come together for the same purpose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is what we were talking about earlier, what Jesus tells us.
Well, the Bible says we're all one body, and when one member, okay, if your finger got smashed really bad, I'd say for a little while your whole body would feel
sure.
bad.
Yeah.
You know. Or if you ever walk through the house in the middle of the night and hook your little toe on something. Or did you
Yeah,
ever find out what those bumper hitches were really made for?
No, what's that?
On the back of a
Oh,
truck.
on the oh, yeah. Yeah, I've
you
never done that, but I've seen somebody
Walked
do it
into
before.
them, yeah,
Yes.
and really knock the hide off of
Yeah.
your shin. I mean, that's when you'll dance and shout and jump all about. And hopefully it's going to be praising the Lord. But when one part of us suffer, when any of us are affected, then we should all feel that and have the empathy and the concerns. So let's truly be that. Jesus, I don't want to say was, but he is, because Jesus is forever, eternal, seated at the right hand of the Father, and he's making intercession
Yes.
for all of us.
Yes.
And he knows our name.
Yes.
So we need to pray for one another, because Jesus said he's the one, he is the high priest, we are the small priest. but we are the priesthood of believers. And we need to bind together.
And we, we had that article from the call. Annette was our special guest
Yes.
a few months ago, and she did that great article.
Yeah.
And while she was here, she was looking at our food calendar of the groups who come and sponsor. And she was amazed at the different denominations and groups
Right.
that come and serve here.
Right.
And I mean, primarily, most are not Methodist or United
Right.
Methodist. I mean, there's a few, but most are from other denominations.
Catholics, Pentecostal,
Church of God,
Baptist,
Church of God today.
Presbyterian.
Yeah. I mean, we have everybody.
Yeah.
And that's
That
great to
is the
see.
body of Christ.
Yes. And,
There's Charlotte who used to work before you, where you working now at the desk. And of course, Jimmy's been with us here for 8 or 9 years, but Charlotte was our first administrative assistant. She worked over there 2 years before she retired. But she told me about someone in Scott County, a little lady in the church. She said, nomination don't matter now. Nomination don't
Amen.
matter.
couldn't have said it
About
better.
the churches. So,
That's true. That's true.
do you
Doesn't
love
matter.
Jesus? Do you follow
Yes.
Jesus? That's
Yes.
what matters.
You have a heart to help
Right.
make a difference.
Right. That's it.
And we make a difference when we least expect it.
Exactly. That's
And
exactly
I think
right.
there's a lot of times we've made a difference and we don't even know.
Don't
Because
even know.
I can say firmly that people have made a difference in my life and they probably never know.
They don't know how. Exactly.
And sometimes later in life you get a chance to see that person and tell them that. And
Right.
here not too long ago I had the opportunity with our friend Greg Burton.
Yes,
Comes by.
I remember that.
Greg is now a retired pastor.
Yeah.
And he was my pastor when I first moved back here many years ago. And it was a bad, bad place in my life, probably the lowest moment that I had ever had. And he was my pastor during that time, and I never had a chance to let him know that he made
Yeah.
a difference, And,
And now he
it
knows.
shocked him, He didn't wasn't expect. I said, I've never really had a chance to tell you. So,
Right.
but just make those impacts, build those
Right.
relationships.
Yes.
Build that trust. Give that this building, this God's living room, like I always say, is a safe place for so many
Right.
who don't have a safe
That's
place.
right. That's right.
This is their safe. Not only is this their mailing address, where they get their food, where they shower, where they get a lot of their clothing, where they go to church.
Right.
This is also, above all, their safe place.
Well, I was sitting over here yesterday at the desk, and a lady came in that we know, and she's in and out of incarceration. And would you say she has a education level or maybe intellectual level of
Yeah.
someone much less
Sure.
than she
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and probably very childlike in so many ways. And she has great seizures. She's been to the hospital a lot, and in jail too for silly stuff. She probably wouldn't squash a bug on the floor. But she was asking you about how to get her Social Security disability, and we began asking her a few questions. And she just needs a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you ask her how long she's been getting, and she said all of my life, because she has that handicap. And somehow someone in the family had been named guardian over her. I guess who passed away, maybe.
No,
Or-
I think that they caught on to, maybe Social Security caught on to what was going on and they just stopped everything.
Okay,
So,
this person,
Yeah.
because she sat right there and she said, well, supposed to be getting $1,000 a month, but he would always give me 200, and then he would keep the rest.
Yep.
And he's taking advantage of her. And so if we could set her up with a case manager, a case worker with Frontier Health, she draws enough money if she can hold on intellectually and do that, but she could be doing a lot better if someone was not taking advantage of her.
Right.
So
That guardianship is supposed to help. But many times,
Yeah.
this happens all
this is stuff we deal with every single day,
Yeah.
every week.
Yes. We
And
have
it's
somebody else,
constant.
yeah. And she
Yeah.
even told me, she said that she didn't want to be the guardian over her money,
Right.
but she needed somebody
She
else
needs
to do it. And poor thing, she was just willing to give it to anybody.
She said, well, that man out there said he would. And
Yeah.
I said, well, do you know him? Well, not really.
Not really.
And I said, you have to be really careful about that. And that's when Jimmy reminded her that usually a judge has to step in and intervene and approve that person
Yeah, that they
as
want to
being
just give it to
responsible.
anybody.
Right.
But and then here's the other realities of situations like this. Today was not a good day for her.
No.
It was not a good day.
No.
Something had happened last night. I kind of caught a little bit of it. I believe maybe she had a few dollars in her stuff while she was sleeping, and somebody took it.
Yeah.
And she was really upset about it, and she didn't. So she didn't want to talk about any of that today.
Yeah.
About
Just
me,
up and down and up and down.
So we filled the needs that she needed today.
Right.
She showered, and she was cold, and she was hungry, and we were able to take care of all those. And then so tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
And she is one that is in this pre-trial program.
Yes.
We could say that. It's hard. These pre-trial officers, I know that they are really trying to do the right thing. I've met several of them. We have a good relationship with
Yes, we
several
do.
of them, and they are fantastic.
Yeah, they come
people.
here often.
They're great. And the first thing they always say is they're not in trouble.
Not in trouble.
They're not in trouble.
Let them know they're
Just
not
trying
in
to
trouble. We're just trying to make sure they don't get in trouble by missing their appointment.
And there is some success in that. But they tell me there's also, again,
Lot
the
of
follow-up
failure,
is
yeah.
the hard part,
Yeah.
And that's kind of with this young lady we're talking about now, that's kind of some of the situations there. But, if I slip on the street and I had a couple of dollars and somebody took it while I was asleep, I would probably get off path too.
I
And
would too.
follow up, So you can't fault for that. But
Right.
Lord, I'll tell you,
This is the life of Shades of Grace, and it's Jimmy and I could either one probably get a job today as a social worker in any of the agencies because by experience we know how to do it,
yep.
and
We would
we were thrust into that
We
situation.
would make good social workers
Yeah, we
and
would.
funeral directors.
Yeah, that's right.
We really would.
Could do it all.
We would.
Yeah,
Because I tell you, I'm not like patting ourselves on the back by this by no means, but we really provide a great memorial service to folks who don't have an option to do
Right.
that. Because that's another added expense.
Yes, it is.
And like the family we did on Saturday, I don't think that the finances were not there to do that,
Right.
and that's why we were an option. And it was an absolute gorgeous service. It was specifically that they chose the music and kind of the way that the
Yes.
service would go.
And the music I just loved.
Yeah,
It was an
it
African
was.
American family, wonderful people, and the music they chose was the old spirituals. It was just beautiful. I mean, my heart was warmed, and
The
we just felt so
second-
good being here with them.
So just to give you an idea, if you want to go check these two songs out, and I'm a music guy, I'd never heard either. But everybody probably remembers Gladys Knight,
Oh, yeah.
Midnight Train to Georgia.
Yes.
But she did a version of Precious Lord, Take My Hand.
Oh, yeah, you got to listen to it. It was beautiful.
And, but
maybe you could play that tonight. Go on.
Well, it might shut us down if I do,
Oh,
but I might try.
Try it.
That was the first song, and it's about like a 5-minute version.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third and the final song was amazing. It was Luther Vandross, and it was called "Dance with My Father." That was great.
It
And
was.
if you watch that on YouTube, there's a video that goes along with it that is even better than the song. So you got some homework to do.
There you go.
If you need some inspiration this evening after the show, go check out those two
All I
songs.
know, it was inspiring, and we just knew we were in the right place doing the right thing.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why we're
absolutely.
here.
Absolutely. So, man,
Beautiful.
lots of good things to
Yep.
share that
That's
go
right.
on here.
Yep.
Let's see. So, how are we looking here? Okay, we're getting close.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we've talked a lot about what we've been going on, and let's do some questions
Let's
for a little
do it.
change of pace.
Yeah,
How's that?
okay.
The last time I was on here and did the questions, you didn't do too good.
Well, I tell you, let's see how we do today.
Maybe I'd lighten the load.
We may need to get our people in Canada to lighten up a little bit. Joking.
All right, here we go. So these two are who am I? Okay?
Who am I?
Who am I? The Spirit of the Lord set me in the valley of dry bones.
Okay.
You know who that is?
Oh, yes.
All right. Go
The
ahead.
foot bone connected to the ankle bone. The ankle bone connected to the shin bone. Y'all be typing in your answer. The shin bone connected to the knee bone. Remember that little song?
I do remember that.
And it all connected up together in the valley of dry bones. And they stood up on their feet as an exceeding mighty army, and his name was Ezekiel.
Ezekiel. Yes.
The valley of dry bones. How many of y'all got? I know some of you got that one.
So there's also one, of course I didn't get through all the clues, but the last one was, the Lord commanded me not to weep when my wife died.
Is that
That's
one?
Ezekiel. That's
Oh,
just one of
really?
the. That's one of the clues. Yeah.
Okay.
The Lord commanded me not to weep when my wife died.
Wow, that's interesting.
I didn't know that.
I never had remembered that
And
one.
that would be from Ezekiel 24, verses 6
Boy,
through
that would
3.
be a good one for the Real Jeopardy show, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, question number 2. Who am I? Oh, this is an easy one. I am one of the 12 apostles. My brother is Simon Peter. I brought a boy with fish and bread to Jesus. I also told Peter that we have found the Messiah. Who am I?
Well, Peter.
Am I Judas,
No, it's not Judas.
Gabriel,
No, it's not Gabriel.
or Andrew?
I was going to say Andrew.
Andrew. That's
Okay.
Andrew. Okay. All right. Now these two are different. This is what am I? Okay. In Matthew chapter 11, Jesus says, "For my what is easy, and my burden is light." The Lord commanded Jeremiah to make one of these and place it on his own neck.
It's a wooden yoke.
A yoke.
Yeah.
Yes. And yep, that's it.
You know, the yoke, say if you and I were oxen or donkeys, have you been called that before?
Maybe another word for a donkey, but
But
yes.
if we were 2 donkeys here, or 2 oxen,
We are.
and the farmer would say, you said we are, but the farmer would have a big wooden mechanism, big heavy wooden thing, and it would come across my shoulder, then it would be straight, then it would come around your neck and out, and then he would be behind, but it kept the animals, the horse, oxen, donkey, whatever, walking in step, and they also had blinders on them, just like you have on the horse. And wherever you have them to go, it's like 2 in tandem. I mean,
Right.
two are greater than one.
Right, right.
But they would plow or pull a wagon or whatever, but the yoke across the neck helps to keep you in line and makes the burden easier, because Jesus said, my yoke. So, in other words, Jesus is walking here, Jimmy's walking here, and that same yoke is around Jesus' neck and around your neck. And Jesus is helping you pull the load.
Aren't you thankful for
Isn't that a good,
Yes.
that's a crude way of looking at it, but it's true.
We need that.
We need that.
We need
Yeah.
that. That's the truth.
Some of you need to know that you're not carrying your load by yourself. You think you are, but Jesus is walking with you,
Okay.
helping carry the load.
All right, last question. What am I? The color gray of this is a sign of virtuous living. Judges 20 tells us that the Benjamites mobilized 700 men that could not sling a stone at one of these and not miss. Jesus also tells us that each of these on your head is numbered. What am I?
Well, mine's short. Yours is a little spiked.
Is thin.
Called the hair on the head.
Yep,
Right.
that's right.
The hair on the head.
So those of you who struggle with gray hair, it says that is a sign of virtuous living.
Well, I'm not living too good because I'm starting to get a little gray here.
You know, my good old buddy Steve Wells looked at me the other day. He was kind of staring at me, and I said, "What's the matter? You got something on my nose?" And he said, "Ah, gosh, I didn't realize how gray your beard's getting." I said, "Well, thank you, appreciate that."
Yeah.
Virtuous living.
That's right. Bad living will make your hair turn white real quick.
There's several things that make your hair turn white. I won't say that because one of them may be watching tonight.
That's right. That's right. We have to joke about it. I mean, that's just life.
All right, Pastor Will.
Some people's hair turns gray,
Yeah.
and some of it falls out,
Some both.
and some of it we just live with. Right.
That's right.
Well, Jimmy,
That's
we've been right on here about
Yeah.
45 minutes.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to try to, you know what I'm going to do?
What's that?
I'm going to take a chance. This is the end of the show. I'm going to put that video on there, The Dance with My Father.
Yeah, see if
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So let's put that on there because that really touched me. Powerful.
Yes.
Powerful.
And by the way, we do have, what do you call it? LLC? CCL?
CC,
Whatever we got.
ABCD.
We got all the letters.
It's a CCLI license. So we can stream this
Yes.
legally. But what it is, there's a bot on Facebook. It's not actually a person. And if it picks these up automatically, it can shut the service
So if
down.
it cuts off, it's not
I
your
think we'll be-
device.
I think we'll be
But
okay.
go to it and see if you can, if
Yeah.
you lose it, try to look it
I'm
up.
going to try it.
Yeah.
I think it's worth a shot.
All right.
So, all right. Well, it's been a great show. It's good to be back. It's
Right.
good to be back with you all, kind of on a normal schedule
Right.
again and back to the.
Well, one other thing I wanted to throw
Sure.
in there too
Okay.
is our friend Reba,
Yes.
who's a very faithful member of the congregation, is going through the loss of her love of her life, her husband Eddie. And tomorrow night, which is Thursday, they will be having a visitation from 5 till 8 at the Kaiser Rosehill Funeral Home in Greenville, Tennessee. It's on the south side of Greenville. And if you can go out, sign the book, speak to Reba and her children, her family. Let them know that she's in our prayers during these days. And we've also had meet Mikey, who just a week ago went through the loss. And we have a lot of folks, a lot of people here who go through extraordinary losses. So I want to remember all of you tonight. And some of you that are viewing this, your heart is hurting, you're lonely and in pain. Just know that Jesus is on the other yoke with you. He's carrying part of your load. So it's going to be okay. All right. I just wanted to share that.
I can't follow up after that.
See you at church Saturday morning, okay? Bye.
Good night.